Good afternoon, man. Let's mute this shit. I was about to watch Pat McAfee, but I'll catch him later, man. Big day yesterday for sports, man. Big day for sports, man. We're gonna start off, right, with the game of the week, right? The Cowboys and the Eagles. Eagles go up 21-0. I watched the game, right? And I'm watching the game, right? And everybody's happy. You know, A.J. Brown's getting football early. You know, they go up 21-0. Devontae Smith's getting the football. You know, everything is rolling, right? And then towards the end of the second quarter, you know, Dallas scores a touchdown. They gain a little momentum. And then, you know, they were down 21-0. They end up holding them to the same 21 points that they scored on the first couple of drives. And what went wrong with the Eagles, man? I feel like they got out-coached, man. I feel like, you know, coach drew up plays, got these guys the football, something you should have been doing all season. But, you know, I guess, you know, things weren't working out. But now, you know, these guys got the football, and then what happened? I don't know. You tell me. What happened, man? You know what I'm saying? So, they never really established the run because they were throwing the football, right? I don't see them utilizing like your fullback, your tight end. Me personally, man, you know, like I said, I'm just a fan, right? But I grew up watching football. I grew up in the 80s, which means I watched the 80s football, 90s football. Same thing with basketball, right? And baseball, boxing, every sport. So you got the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and now we're in the 2020s. That's 5 decades I've been watching sports, man. You gotta utilize weapons out there, not just sit back and look for your wideouts. The things that separate your elite quarterbacks and your great quarterbacks and your good quarterbacks and your game managers and all these other guys are knowing how to use the weapons around you. Everything out there is a weapon, man. So, you know, what happened to running the football? Using other backs. Don't just use Saquon. Like, give other guys carries. Using your fullback. Dink and dunk them, screen plays with the fullback. Using your checkdowns. Move the football. This is what Tom Brady did, Peyton Manning did, and Rodgers when he was at his best. Elway used to do it. Drew Brees knew how to do that. You know, these guys knew how to. Dan Marino, he didn't really have the running backs, but these guys knew how to. They knew how to utilize the weapons around them. Warren Moon was good for that. Use the weapons around you, man. Patrick Mahomes is good for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, use your weapons, man. Don't just sit back. And I think what happened was the adjustment came, right? While I say they got our coach, Dallas made the adjustments and Philadelphia didn't. Once they started seeing, all right, they keying up, locking up these guys, we can't really get them the ball the way the plays aren't working the way we want them to now. There's no second options. Like, there's no, where's the, like, all right, let me start going to my tight end. Let me start going to Saquon. They try to get the ball to Saquon out the backfield, but you know they're keying on that. The 3 major things they're going to key on is those 2 wideouts and Saquon. So now let's make other guys better. This is the difference in Peyton Manning and those guys. They know how to make guys better. They know how to make you watch the other guys. You know what I'm saying? So now these guys, you know what I'm saying, they getting keyed on, and you got Jalen Hurts just looking downfield, and, you know, meanwhile, you got a guy might have been open here or open there, even if it's 5 or 6 yards, you holding the football too long. Now you're going to get sacked, or you're forcing it into coverage. Like, come on, man, just to get these guys the football to make them happy. You know, everything was going great, man. And then in the fourth quarter, 45 seconds left, you know, Saquon had the fumble. There was a lot of things they did wrong. The fumbling, the turnovers killed them, and penalties killed them, right? And penalties can kill drives, man. And that was another thing that hurt them. But one of the things that was mind-boggling to me that people I don't hear them talking about, it was Dallas had the football. They had no timeouts. They got the ball down to about the 45-yard line. And this guy, you know, he calls a timeout. They don't have any timeouts, my dude. They're not in field goal range. They have the 45 of you guys. That's a 60-something yard field goal. And there's 45 seconds left. At least you had 3 timeouts, right? Make them spike it, man. Or if they're going to make the play, make them make the play, and then you call the timeout when they're in field goal range, because now they're probably going to run, you know what I'm saying? Like, they know that they can run another play and just burn out the clock, but you're going to have to burn your timeouts. But you would have had 3 of them. If they would have gotten in the field goal range, now you save your team at least a good amount of seconds where they may be able to get in the field goal range. I didn't understand that timeout. I'm just a fan, man. I didn't understand that timeout. Now you allow them to draw up a play, and then they get another big play down the field, and now you got 2 timeouts left. They can run out the clock now because you don't have that 3rd timeout. I didn't understand that, man. So to me, they got out coached in that game. And now we look at Shedeur Sanders, man. Who, you know, the team got the victory. It's obviously the coach and him don't like each other, man. Or the coach doesn't like him. You know what I'm saying? And I attribute that probably to his dad. Not that it's his dad's fault per se, but I just think the way they portrayed the dad and the way that, you know, they hated on his father, all the attention that he brings to college football in Colorado, and you know, the way he, you know, carries himself, and the way they portray he carries himself, you know, was what caused this guy to be on the 3rd or 4th string quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Because it's clearly they don't have a quarterback. That kid, Dylan Gabriel's not the answer. Who else was on that team? Flacco was definitely not the answer. You know, so, you know, you could have, you know what I'm saying, even if you wanted to go with Dylan Gabriel, you could have gave this kid more reps. You know, so you know it was something personal. And, you know, to me, it's like, all right, Deion Sanders, he came to college football. I don't see, you know, because he was using transfers and all that. These guys are mad, right? It's beyond Deion Sanders to me. It just goes to shows that the racism and hate that still goes on, and it happens right under your nose, and you don't see it. People don't pay attention to it, or they see it and they don't speak on it. But it's like, you know, if that was Bobby Bowden or one of these other guys, they wouldn't have cared. They would have had little things to say, but they wouldn't have had the vitriol that they had towards those guys. They had towards Deion Sanders. I mean, they wouldn't have done his son the way they did Deion Sanders' son. But it's obvious, you know, it's the same thing as, like, boom. They like, they see, the problem was, right, the SEC is still the dominant division, right, but conference, because, you know, they built a certain standard. So now they got a lot of teams that want to go to the SEC because they know those where the bigger games are, right? You know, they was getting all the recruits. So now that we got this NIL thing, all this shit going on, and guys can transfer and go ahead, they no longer can dominate the recruiting. So now they're pissed off, man. You know what I'm saying? So now that, you don't see Alabama dominating like they used to. You still see them. They're still great teams, right? But you don't see them as dominant and unbeatable. Nobody's scared of these teams anymore because now the balance is there. You know what I'm saying? And these kids can make money now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't need the college to straddle on, you know what I'm saying, and for the name. Now these kids can build their brands. Right? They don't like it, man. I'm telling you, they don't like it, man. Now, is it good for the overall development of these kids? In a way, nah. You know what I'm saying? Because how you hurt your shoulder throwing? He hurt his left arm throwing with his right arm, breaking Mayfield. But man, he might be out, man, for a minute. That shit look like it hurt. I'm watching the replay. He threw the ball and he hurt his shoulder falling. His left shoulder. Throws a ball and then his left shoulder's hurting. But anyway, they you know what I mean, like that, you know, saying like, then, the attention that he was getting and things like that, they don't like it. They didn't like it. I'm telling you, every week they had something negative to say about the man, and it's like, what did the man do? And then he did his son dirty. I mean, he could have said some things that he didn't need to say either, but the way he did this boy was bad, man. But congratulations to him. They got the victory. He was the first quarterback in their franchise to win his first game starting in like almost 30 years. So congratulations to him, man. The Chiefs, they got a victory yesterday. I knew they were going to beat the Colts, man. I'm not sold on Daniel Jones. I feel like Daniel Jones is what you call a guy. He's a quarterback. When I look at quarterbacks, right, I look at quarterbacks that, like you got dual threats, guys like Elway, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, guys that can beat you with their legs, but they're more pocket passers, right? You got your scramblers, your running type quarterbacks like Randall Cunningham, who turned more into a dual threat later on. But Randall Cunningham could sit in the pocket and throw the football. He was more of a dual threat. But like Michael Vick, what you call my man name, Cam Newton, what's my other man name, Lamar Jackson. Those are scrambling, running type quarterbacks. They, you know what I'm saying, and they usually, the stigma on them was, they don't read the playbook well, or, they weren't accurate and all this shit. And mainly because they weren't asked to just drop back in the pocket. So for them to learn how to drop back in the pocket, it took time. And a lot of them most of them don't adjust. Michael Vick, he started making little adjustments later in his career, but it was like, he was already like in his mid-30s when he made those adjustments. But he always had a great arm, but he wasn't a dink and dunk. He wasn't the guy that was going to make his receivers better or make receivers like, Tom Brady made Wes Welker, Gronkowski, and Aaron, what was that boy name that killed himself? That kid, he was Aaron Hernandez, another was about to be a good tight end. Peyton Manning. These are guys that they knew, because they're pocket passers, right? So their game is about their arm and their mind, because they're not relying on athleticism. They're relying on their mind to be able to study the playbook and learn how to audible and learn how to make plays, learn how to make guys around them better, put the guys around them in a position to make plays. You know what I'm saying? So they utilize the weapons around them. With Daniel Jones, he's more of a game managing type quarterback. He's only going to be good and go so far as the talent around him. He's not going to make the talent around him better. He's going to He can progress with the talent, and it showed when he had Saquon Barkley. And the Giants, and Saquon had one of those great years, and Daniel Jones shined. Then when Saquon was hurt, we saw the regression. And the reason why the Giants probably packed up on Brian Daboll is, when they look at Daniel Jones' success over there, they put him in a position to win. He wasn't putting them in a position to win. And you can tell. And you can tell he doesn't protect his quarterbacks well, because Daniel Jones took a lot of punishment there, and now you look at that kid Jackson Dart, he's taking a lot of punishment, and I think they packed him because they looked at it like, yo, look, we ain't trying to be responsible for this for bad decision making on the football field. The guys could cuss you, putting them back in the game, things of that nature, and I think that probably got him packed, man. Topping them, blowing games and shit, and they see like that we're not progressing with this kid, and he's putting this kid in harm's way. He's allowing this kid to play too loosey goosey, and the kid is going to end his career before it even start. And that's probably why they packed him, man. You know what I'm saying? Topping them, losing. But Daniel Jones, you only gonna go as far with him as that team takes him. With the Broncos, the defense can carry the team, and the offense does enough to make plays and salvage games. Is that a winning formula? Not all the time, but it depends on your matchup, and depending on where they play and who's hot and who's not, they can get to the Super Bowl. But the Chiefs needed that win yesterday, and then we go to the Raiders. They fired Chip Kelly. That whole team is overrated, man. You got Geno Smith. I don't want to call him a bum, but he resurgence his career. But to me, he's another game managing type quarterback. He's not no quarterback you're gonna do anything with your franchise with. He's more of a backup. You know what I'm saying? But he's had some successful seasons with Pete Carroll in Seattle. But and they thought they can carry that over in Oakland, or no, Las Vegas. They're the Las Vegas Raiders now. The Vegas, and that division that they're in is too strong, and in the conference he's playing in, it's a lot of competitive teams, man. So it's Pete Carroll might be next, man. They got it, but they gotta get some they gotta get better personnel. You need a franchise quarterback. You need a better running game. That kid Gentry, they can key up on him right now, but I don't know if he's it. Either you got it or you don't, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they're in trouble, man. The Rams. I'm gonna end my football take with the Rams, man. They look like the best team in football right now. You got Matthew Stafford. And see, Matthew Stafford, he used to be, he's a pocket passer, but he's more of a gunslinger. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like a more accurate Brett Favre. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a gunslinger. He gonna chuck that football down the field, but he can make other guys around him better. You know what I'm saying? And Matthew Stafford, with that team, their defense is playing well. They can run the football a little bit, and they have a couple of receivers they can get the football to, man. And it's real, man. Like, they're the best team right now in football, the way they're playing. The Eagles, they blew a chance, man. You had Dallas on the ropes. That was a bad loss. They had Dallas on the ropes. You was about to put them out their misery. They would have been 4-6 and 1, and they would have been an uphill climb for them to get in the playoffs. Now they they would have been 5-6 and 1. I'm sorry. Now they're 6-5 and 1, and they have a chance. That one win, it helps, man. And you know, what I was gonna say, man. You know, they you know, saying the Eagles, they blew opportunity. Now you're gonna, you know, the Rams now have home field advantage. Not saying they're gonna win every game, but should the Eagles finish behind them, they're gonna have to travel on the road. And the way the Eagles are playing, I don't think they can win in LA. So I think whoever has the home field advantage wins that matchup. The Detroit Lions came back yesterday, but they don't look too good, man. The Bears, they definitely improved. The Vikings regressed. Oh, the Malik Neighbors. What did he say? It's almost like they lose games on purpose for us. He talked about the Giants coaching staff. I don't think that was appropriate, man, to say out of part. That's why he deleted it. But how would you say that? And not only throwing your coaches under the bus, but with everything that's going on with all these investigations, you got investigations about gambling and basketball, investigations in baseball, people getting caught throwing games and shit. You know, for you to throw that statement out there, that was bad, man. You know, you can potentially, man, you can ruin reputations like that, and you can get people put on investigation saying shit like that, because when you look at the way they lose a lot of these games, you're up double digits. You're up 26-8 in Denver. You know what I'm saying? Like, with 5 minutes left, that's not a game you lose. And, you know, for him to say that, you know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of times, you know, you see the Giants, they're heavy underdogs. They come out, they're winning. So now, you know, somebody's ticket, whoever picked the as an underdog, you know, or whoever picked the favorite in that game might have took the points looking at the Giants. And then, you know, the Giants, here they go, the Giants got the lead, and they win in the game, and it's looking like they're going to win. And then somebody may put their money on the Giants, and they blow that fucking game. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you know, we don't, you know, that's a stretch, but pause. But it can happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can happen. Hold on a second. My fault, people. I'm making some white rice for lunch when I go to work. But yeah, man, like that wasn't a good look to say that, man. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, you deter coaches now from wanting to be there, man. You know what I'm saying? At least Justin Jefferson, so far, he's keeping his mouth quiet because his team is terrible, man. And you know, they're wasting his talent as well. But to say some shit like that, fam, you don't say that, man. That's not something you say. But yeah, man, football, man, this is a big weekend, man. The Lakers got the win yesterday. Big weekend for boxing. You know, Devin Haney, he looked good. You know, got a knockdown. Silenced a lot of critics. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, David Benavidez got a stoppage. Dula Mason, congratulations to him. I think I did the video about them, when was it, yesterday or Saturday night? But yeah, man, it was, you know, nice weekend for sports, man. You know, I know I'm missing something. But I mainly wanted to talk football. You know, oh yeah, the Ravens, they won. The Ravens won too. The Steelers lost to the fucking Bears. They didn't have a quarterback. I mean, I knew they were gonna lose that game. But yeah, the Ravens, they won 5 straight. Ooh, 5 straight. You know, they beating a lot of the they feeding at the bottom of the barrel, but they winning the games they're supposed to win. So now, that's what I'm saying. This gets interesting, man. The rest of the season gets very interesting. Because you got the Chiefs, you got the Steelers struggling, and you got the Ravens. They creeping back into that division. They can still win that division. You got the Patriots and the Bills. You got the Broncos. Like it's interesting, man. Like this is gonna turn out to be great, man, because there's a lot of teams over 500. Jacksonville and Indianapolis. Jacksonville won yesterday, so it's a lot going on. You get the Chargers. Like there's some teams. There's gonna be some disappointed teams at the end of the season, man. So it's way more competitive in the AFC than it is in the NFC, man. NFC, you got Seattle, the Rams, San Fran. That might be the best division. Then you got Green Bay and Detroit. They're gonna battle it out in Chicago. Chicago took Minnesota place, so now they're battling it out. I ain't gonna lie, that the NFC got some dudes too, man. The NFC South is trash. You know, a lot of quarterbacks are hurt, but that's Tampa Bay's to lose. And the NFC East is pretty much a run with the Eagles and the Cowboys. But like I said, had the Eagles won that game, they would have put the Cowboys in a bad situation. But yeah, it's tensing up, man. Or it's tensing up. Anyway, man, I'm out, man. I'll get back at y'all later. I know I'm forgetting something, but maybe I'll do another video if I get a chance, man. Manyface Publishing, I'm out. Peace.